How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
Good. You're at the lodge, I see.
I'm at the lodge.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that place.
Beautiful.
Okay, I want to value your time. Thank you
Sure.
for meeting with me.
Yeah,
I'm just going to ask a couple questions. I just want to get some information that we can push out to
okay.
promote.
Absolutely.
And yeah, okay.
Perfect.
So I can record us, right?
You should be able to, and I am recording on my end, and we can actually send you this.
Okay. Do you want to just do it that way?
Yeah, yeah, we can do it
Okay.
that way.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, let's get started. So, we're thrilled to have my mentor and one of my favorite humans on earth, Coach Michael Burt, with us today. He's a speaker at our upcoming Rich Thinking Conference in Philadelphia. I know exactly what you do, but I want our fans to know what it is you do and what your expertise is. And it could be quick. We could chop this up. So it could just
Yeah.
be quick, just so people know who you are.
Sure. Former championship women's basketball coach, really a specialist at helping people to find, package, market, and monetize what makes them unique in the world with a special emphasis on packaging and monetization of their skill sets.
Yes, I love it. So what can people expect from your inspirational talk at the conference?
I think a good talk stirs their soul. I think it's transformative in nature. I think a good talk opens the mind. And I think a good talk even creates attention to want to have a better life. I think that's what they can expect from one of my talks.
Of course, I love that. So I read somewhere that your goal is to be one of the top thought leaders in the world.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what that would look like for you?
Well, when I was 31 years old, I wrote on a board in my home office. I wanted to be the next Covey. Stephen Covey had such a deep impact on me. He was such a thought leader, the way he broke down finding your voice, inspiring other people to find theirs, the habits of effective people. I said, when I grow up, I want to be a person that has those kind of thoughts and affects millions of people. And that's really where that came from.
I love that. And maybe you can share a little bit, and we talk about this often in your coaching calls about getting in the room
Yeah.
and how important it is to really progress as humans and to grow and to network. So could you maybe talk a little bit about your experience with that, with being in a room and how it may have affected you in the best of ways, with being in the room with similar, energy and movers and shakers and powerhouses of the world. Maybe we could hear a little bit about your experience with that and the importance of actually being in a physical presence of other people.
Well, I think when you look at what activates the drive inside of a person, it's typically exposure to something. They see something, they hear something, they're around people, and that creates an awareness, like a self awareness. It's like, oh, there's a bigger future. I can play at a bigger level. And for me, I started getting in rooms at 18, going to conferences, being around some of the best people in the world. And pretty much every person that does something big traces back to a decision to be around other people doing big things, in a room with people doing big things, and the energy you wouldn't be able to replicate in a Zoom like you could in the room with people, which is why so many people say, you got to get in the room. You got to get in the room. And there's a reason so many people say you have to get in the room, because in the room is where the true transformation takes place.
Yes. And you also mentioned a little bit about, not only being in the room, but carrying with you that energy and those connections when you leave, right? Because so many of us go to these conferences, we get inspired and we meet these really cool people. And oftentimes when we leave, we're not putting into use any of the information we've heard. We're not continuing our education or our networking with those people. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the importance of that.
Sometimes getting in a room does one thing, opens your mind. It's like sometimes it inspires you to play at a bigger level. Sometimes you see something, sometimes you hear something. So I always say that each engagement you go to should be worth $250,000 to you, either through an idea, a strategy, a relationship, a follow up, a key strategic partner. I mean, just go back to, I was thinking about this the other day. Almost every big thing that I've ever had happen to me happened through me going to something, meeting a person. That person opened up a whole new opportunity for me, and I followed up on that opportunity and then converted that opportunity to new monetization, new money. And so that's the power of being in a room with people and following up with those people.
Yeah, it really is. It's truly powerful. And that is a huge reason why we're hosting this, is to bring people Philadelphia, this amazing, these people that can really help them open up their eyes and raise their awareness. So one last thing. So we all know that you have three beautiful children. And, what is your opinion on how they are being educated, and what is important to you as a father in this kind of world, 2024 post pandemic? What are your thoughts about how you want your children to kind of, do you want them to follow in your footsteps?
I think that children watch and they observe a lot, right? And they see their parents or whomever's in their life doing things, right? It's like they're taking action. They're moving to a different level. They're playing at a higher frequency. They get up every day and go somewhere, right? And I think in today's world, what we would see if we did a study of 18 to 25-year-olds, you would see lack of prey drive, lack of direction, you see, right? The statistics actually tell us what are things that are missing, even when they show up to interviews. And so it's like, okay, how do we solve that problem? How do we help that generation be ready for it? Because that's a different the way we were raised, right? It's a different mindset, it's a different skill set. So I think what I want my kids to know is, if you study the habits of the top 1%, remarkable boldness, intrinsic motivation, grit and resilience, ability to lock in, and great connection skills. If they had those things, they're going to be successful. But simple things: cleaning up after yourself,
Yeah.
taking a personal pride and excellence in keeping the house clean, right? Looking presentable when you go out in public. Like there's a lot of things. It's like, hey, you just want them to know, and that's not what's being taught many times. So it's got to come from somewhere.
Yes, it does. And they're very lucky to have you as a role model. And I feel very similarly about my children, and how they're, working into the world, getting older. And it's really important for them to be around people like us,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah,
And
and they need that exposure. So I always say everybody needs a coach in life. I think young people need coaches in their life. And
Mhm.
typically it's not their parents. Their parents are their parents, and they have their job to do, but also they need exposure, because when your kids are not with you, they're with somebody. They're with a teacher, they're with a coach, they're getting private lessons somewhere. So it's like they need, right? It's like I used to tell parents when I was a basketball coach, you need to know what my philosophy is. You need to know what I believe. You need to know what I teach the kids, because they would just drop their kids off and have no idea what I believed, why I believed it, what we did, how we did it different than other people. So I think that's an important thing. An important thing that we need to understand is that, hey, look at the statistics about how much time parents actually get to spend with their kids today. And then, I remember who used to say, Don Meyer used to say, who's coaching your kids is more important than who the president of the United States is.
100%.
And I believe that, because they're shaping, molding, correcting, keeping people in a very structured thing. That's why I'm a big believer in sports,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But if they have a bad coach, in today's world, not all the coaches are great. So it's like, okay, what are we doing here? What is the coach having them do? How are they learning and growing and maturing?
Yes. Well, those teams that you coached were sure they're lucky to have you as their coach, for sure. They were getting a diamond, and that's so cool, because I even hear my son talk about his coaches sometimes, where he's like, he's not really pushing me, or he's very well aware of what should be happening, and it's not always happening that way. But that's another kind of teaching moment for our kids, right? Where we can say, you're not going to love everyone you work with. You're not going to love everyone you meet. It's how you respond to these people, and how you internally are carrying yourself. That's the most important, whether you agree or not with what they're doing. Right.
That, yep.
Yeah. So it's super important.
Yep. Yeah. I think, like I said, go back to the old days of coaching. I spent 5.5 hours a day with the players, and it's a very disciplined environment. and they had expectations, and they knew they had to show up, they had to grow up, they had to deliver. We don't whine, we don't complain, we don't make excuses. And imagine how that prepared them for later in life after those 4 years of, because the children are getting conditioning from somewhere, right? They're getting physiological conditioning, psychological conditioning, environmental scripting. And if they can get those things from somebody who really holds them accountable, then it's like, hey, this becomes muscle memory. I show up, I clean up after myself, I take the trash out, I have a high degree of pride and personal responsibility. So these are things that, obviously employers are looking for in employees.
Absolutely. Or not have an employer, be your own boss, right?
Right.
Well, thank you, Coach. I adore you. I believe in everything you do. You've changed my life, and I'm looking forward to everybody at the conference really getting exposed to you and understanding the importance of having a coach in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward, and I don't come to Philly much, so this is going to be a great.
Well, we're changing that. That's not.
It's going to be a great experience. It's going to be a great day, and I promise you, you're going to come thinking one way, and you're going to leave thinking another way. It's going to be true transformation. Open up your mind to real possibility.
I love it. I love it. You get me fired up every time I talk to you. Thanks. So, thank you for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I think that would be it for now. And I appreciate you taking the time.
Of course. Yeah. And we'll take this, and this is on our Zoom link, correct?
So yes, this was your Zoom link Janice sent me.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we'll send this to you, and then you can do whatever you want. Perfect. That sound okay?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
All right. Perfect.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
All right.
All right. I'll talk to you later. I'm not going to be on today. I have an appointment. Just let you know. I'll be on the replay.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.